Hi, and welcome to the Fluid Voice. I'm Ozma in the Dark, here with uh, a, a couple lovely usual guests. Current, uh, wow, usual guests, guest host, usual co-host. Wow, it's gonna be one of those days apparently on my end. Christy, just in case you're wondering, my pronouns are she, they. Christy, how are you doing?
I just woke up a couple of hours ago, so I'm not entirely sure who I am right now.
What about you, Perfect? Everything going perfect?
Everything's going perfect. Yes. Would you like to buy a vowel?
I would like to buy a pronoun.
Oh, I didn't do that
He,
either.
him. I'm he, him. How about you, Christy?
She, her.
Sophia Botha, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Pronouns she, her. Celtic 5, Hamilton 1. Good start to the season.
And finally, our guest, Kevin Logan, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, my pronoun is attack helicopter, which is an original joke that I wrote that no one else has ever used before. So, this one now, he, him, boring.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm the only one who's not actually using the general pronouns, but whatever. Well, actually, they is the most general pronoun, arguably, but
No, it. Surely.
Certainly what I get called on Twitter enough.
Yeah, but they're not doing it in a respectful way. So tonight's topic is Antifa.
Yes, I'm Antifa. I'm a terrorist, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, what's everyone's thoughts on that? You can just give a general rundown, then we can talk a bit more about it.
Well, Antifa. All Antifa means is it's an abbreviation for anti-fascist. And when Donald Trump said that Antifa were terrorists, so being anti-fascist is terrorist. That's kind of worrying because that's the kind of shit you'd have expected Hitler to have said.
Well, he did, yeah.
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 I mean,
literally, yeah.
Antifa is an ideology. Actually, I suggest that people check out Philosophy Tube's video on anti-fascism. It's actually quite good.
Yes.
Because it's not just, you see, everyone seems to think that Antifa is people in black masks throwing Molotov cocktails. No, it's not. There's a lot of activism which goes unseen, which is actually very constructive. You know, the work of people like Hope Not Hate, etc. You know, even people like the Anti-Defamation League, who, I have some disagreements with them, which we won't go into here, but they, there's a lot of constructive anti-fascist activism. It's, but the media make it out that it's just a bunch of anarchists, punching Richard Spencer. No, it's not.
Oh, that was awesome.
Yeah,
not that that's a bad goal.
Yeah, that's not. No.
Well, it's a very small goal.
I mean,
it's just Richard Spencer.
Personally, I mean, there's a 10-hour loop of it on YouTube, and it's very tempting to actually watch 10 hours of. It's very pleasurable, but the trouble is that most people seem to think, they don't get the fact that, particularly the fence sitters, they always go, well, violence is a bad thing. What they don't realize is that Nazis are violent, and unfortunately, you have to sometimes meet that with violence. I'm not advocating violence unless it's in self-defense, and Nazis generally threaten people with violence.
But in a general sense, all politics is backed up by the threat of violence.
This is true.
The liberal civil order is on the basis that if you break the rules, they will take you under force of handcuffs and at gunpoint and put you in a fucking cage. All of it's backed up by a certain threat of violence to begin with, because that's how you exercise political force, in essence. Now, this is a more blunt and immediate form of it, but that's the thin end of the wedge, or not the thin end of the wedge. So that's the tip of the spear, because it has to be.
Yeah,
fascism is like would be the end of any kind of vague democracy.
This is true. You know.
Yeah, if I may, the thing I definitely disagree with not disagree with. I agree with Antifa. The most ridiculous thing is people who call Antifa the real fascists, because there's like absolutely nothing in Antifa that's even remotely fascist. It's more anarchistic. It's closer to anarchism in the sense of a lack of hierarchy than it is fascism. Fascism generally requires a central leader. It requires like a lot of things that are not in Antifa.
Well, one of the reasons for Orange Julius Caesar to declare Antifa a terrorist group is so he can have the Department of Homeland Security pick up anybody who is protesting, presuming that they are under the aegis of Antifa, which of course is a big red flag for fascism.
What did you call the strange orange mold that sits in the presidential office?
Orange Julius Caesar.
That's a good one.
Not my term.
I would advise the American people in November to go full Brutus at the election, at the polling stations. You understand?
Those polling stations will be blocked off by police in most areas outside of rich white areas.
All I'll say to Donald Trump, then, if you block people doing the peaceful Brutus, they might do the actual Brutus. Just, you know.
I was gonna say, look, I mean, personally, I do support street activists like Unite Against Fascism, but what I was trying to make the point that, unfortunately, the chattering classes, shall we say, violence is never an answer. They don't realise, of course, and this might sound absolutely ridiculous, but this would probably happen, right? If you like curry in this country, or if you like tacos in America, right, you probably wouldn't get, those would be banned, right? For instance, there is a series in this country called The Great British Menu, which is a bunch of Ponzi chefs cooking up stuff for, some celebrity do. They always, have some thing for they have to cook for every series, right? And the arguments always ensue, oh, that's not British. No, it's not British. And what you would have is, if fascists were in charge, you would have probably the food ministry, and would say, British food, So I mean, okay, most curries are invented over here, but they've got not that far, but and you would have the same in America. Always hearing Alex Jones going on about fucking taco bans. So people, the stuff they enjoy now, they wouldn't be able to have. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I don't know about that. In America, we might just call it American food and then take it. We do that.
Yeah, freedom fries. We did that.
Yeah.
No, but you get these fucking Puritans.
Well,
and they use the most bullying of all the people. And they will get to decide, what is people should do in the nation. It wouldn't just be it wouldn't just be food. It would be films and books, and because the Nazis obviously were well known for book burnings. You would have a return of all that, and that's what people don't fucking realize, and that is why, you need to nip it in the bud now. And I'm really starting to I am starting to worry. I really am.
I mean, I am too. What would you consider to be a reasonable course of action? Any of you?
Nuclear warfare.
I don't think I have problems with that. That's going to cause a lot of fallout and a lot of long time damage. That, I mean, there's
it's only white people are going to be affected, so that's fine. That's fine. Who cares? No, I suppose it depends on the situation, how desperate it gets. Like it has to be a like it would be, I think, a bit much to go around, I don't know, doing some sort of revolution maybe. But if the fascists took over, that would then become the only reasonable course of action. So it's at what point on the sliding scale of them taking over that you think they are at that point, as to what our response would be.
I was talking.
Sorry, I was going to say that there is one other thing I wanted to add here, which is worrying. And this is something I was speaking to a certain libertarian acquaintance of us all. And she was going on about how, she said, the original intent of Black Lives Matters, I agree with, but Black Lives Matters is a Marxist organization. Now, she's not the only person who's saying this. I'm hearing this from racists like Nigel Farage. This is the kind of stuff the far right do to scare people. You know, oh no, the threat of Marxism. I mean, these people are still.
But nothing. This is the conservatism in a nutshell. The arguments never progressed.
Well,
they were saying the exact same shit about Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Christy, you're going to say something?
Oh, I find it bizarre, because what happened in my city galvanized the white people when George Floyd's death sort of did, but it galvanized just the left. But when right in front of our city hall, they pushed down a 75-year-old man and gave him brain damage. And our fascist leader decided that, you know, he was a spy and he had high-tech things that were eliminating police radios or something, which was strange. But seeing a single, 50 guys and one single guy being just pushed down. If they ever find out he isn't white, then I suppose it'll go backwards. But the guy in Portland who was just standing there and they kept billy clubbing him and he didn't move, I thought that was actually more interesting. But
if there's hope, it's that, I mean, what I saw in Portland, I know they got tear gassed, but that wall of soccer mums protecting protesters, that was a sign of hope to me. That's middle America coming out and saying, no, we've had enough of this shit.
Oh, yeah. And the dads are behind them, which good for the dads.
Yeah. I think that Antifa, however, is a cautionary tale of allowing the extremists in your organization to serve as your poster children.
Well, do we have much of a choice? They keep showing the same picture of a Starbucks window getting broken.
This is what
for the last 10 years.
Yeah, this is what I was saying. This is the way the media, but obviously the media is part of the fucking establishment, and the establishment is quite happy with there being, neoliberal capitalist fascism, as long as it makes them money.
Well,
I'm just saying, if you get out in front and disavow them, you say, no, that's not us and that's not what we do. Whatever they were doing, we don't know. That's not us, that's not what we do.
I actually think one way is actually disrupting the way the way the media reports. Obviously, Kevin's probably quite familiar with Laura Koonsberg, chief Tory correspondent for the BBC. I've always said, look, if you see her interviewing some politician, get in the way of her, challenge her, go to these journalists with video cameras, ask them about their bias, doorstep these fuckers, right? The politicians as well.
There are people who think there are people who think that Rachel Maddow is a right winger, so there is that. And
well, I've shown you what happened with Koonsberg, didn't I? I showed you that video.
I don't. Yeah. Oh, you did.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody under 25 should be allowed to call themselves Antifa because fuck them. Sorry.
Wait, fuck people under 25 or?
Yeah.
Yeah, they should just stay off my lawn.
Pretty much.
Get off my land.
Well, for one thing, I guess I do have some things to disagree with. I mean, people are like, I don't know necessarily the exactly at what age you should be considering yourself, Antifa, especially given the increase in the knowledgeability of young people. Like,
except their knowledgeability is not evident.
I disagree. I think Antifa begins at conception.
Yeah.
Well, the anti-fascist part, I presume everyone agrees with.
I was born Antifa.
I was born and raised by a Nazi, so
Alex,
are you earnestly asking if there's anybody here who's pro-fascism?
Well, no, honestly, no. I just was trying.
No, I'm not pro-fascism. I just like the uniforms. It's fine.
Just in terms of the framing, I was just trying to make sure things are clear for everyone.
Kevin, you do realise this is being streamed. You shouldn't reveal your BDSM fantasies live on air.
Well, I'm a stylish man, and I like a bit of Hugo Boss. What can I say? By the way, he designed the Nazis' uniforms, in case anyone was wondering.
Did he?
He did.
Yes. Is that not?
So you literally had SS officers walking around, stomping across Europe, killing Jews, wearing Hugo Boss.
Oh, I'll have to tell you this then. A few years ago, I knew someone who worked for IBM.
Right.
And I said, I don't like IBM.
Give me a second.
And they didn't understand why. And I said, do you know they basically manufactured the punch card system the Nazis used in the fucking concentration camps? And I went,
they did. What? There are loads. There are absolutely loads of companies like Coca-Cola. And,
yes, Fanta. Fanta was especially produced for Nazi Germany. Yeah.
Yeah,
but the Ford Motor Company, IG Farben, not IG Farben,
IB Farben.
IB Farben. Sorry, yes. There are loads of those companies that used slave labor during the Holocaust, and they were fine. There was nothing done. Not relevant to anything necessarily, just a historical point.
Well, no, it's just it is relevant. It shows how capitalism likes to sort of help along fascism, don't it?
Yeah.
Fascism could be helpful to capitalism, is the idea.
Well, but Benito Mussolini said if fascism's anything, it is when corporate and state power are intertwined.
Yeah. Lenin called it. Fascism was capitalism in decay. It was the last sort of thrashing of capitalism to protect itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, although obviously capitalism isn't a specific, isn't a sentient entity. It's involving a bunch of people, and a bunch of people who don't necessarily care or think about what they're doing, so long as they get their short-term results.
Yeah, obviously, I'm not suggesting that capitalism is a sentient being that's controlling things. I'm saying the pressures that lead people to act in the interest of capital, let's say, lead them to act in that way.
One of the to just explain what I said before. One of the things I see, and it's worrying me because we have an election coming up in which there is no choice, but people calling Joe Biden a fascist is kind of over the fucking top, and you guys don't have any context or history to understand this because you're too damn young to have lived through any of it. And you know what? Stop.
Yeah, but
it puts the Biden on its skin, or it gets the Trump again.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good one. I was going to say, yeah, but Christy, there was a similar argument I remember when Jeremy Corbyn was elected Labour leader,
Oh, sure.
and there was a lot of sort of older people say, "Oh, you don't remember the Labour in the '70s. You don't remember Michael Foot, blah blah blah." To all these millennials, you see that's the trouble. The trouble is that it comes over, to a lot of young people as rather patronising.
Well,
Actually,
yes, I'm going to be patronizing at this point because I'm tired of hearing that. Joe Biden's a fascist.
I mean, the thing is, as far as I'm concerned, it's either Biden or fascism. Which do you want? All right. You go and vote Green, you get fascism. You go vote Libertarian, you get fascism.
But if you vote in Libertarian, you probably know that anyway. You're probably okay with that.
Yeah.
Well, if it depends, we have like two different strains of libertarianism. Someone like Arya, who we've had on the show here, and we've had on the show here twice and once on mine, and her brand of libertarianism.
Wait, has she been on here twice? I thought she was only on here once.
She's been on my show and she's been on Christy as well.
Gotcha.
Okay. So yeah,
that must be it. And I've been meaning to talk with her too. It's just, but yeah, go on. Sorry.
I think.
But I just. Sorry,
Christy, you seemed like, were you finished?
Yeah. Well, we on the opposite side we have the Rand Paul school of libertarianism, or the stupidest person in Congress, Louis Gohmert version of libertarianism.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was referring to in the sort of North American wrong sense of what that word means. Yeah,
but the two strains are very, very different, which is
but libertarian was always socialist before.
The political things do not really matter, is what I'm saying. If Beelzebub was the Democratic national candidate, okay, I'd want to hear what he had to say about his policies before I made up my mind.
Yeah, exactly.
But bar to that.
Tell me, Mr. Bob, how are you going to fund this lake of fire exactly? Is it increased taxes?
Let's be honest. We have three trans people here. Trump is in again. We don't survive that.
Well, you two might not, but
we do. Well, yeah. I'm sorry.
Mind you, it's not looking brilliant over here either. But
yeah.
Well, no. But to be fair,
I live in Minnesota, so what'll happen is Ilhan Omar and the rest of St. Paul and Minneapolis will band together first against. I mean, we've already gone against the police. We just go and we start. The revolution starts here in Minnesota. Sorry.
Well, Brian Higgins, my who's an unknown. He was left before left was cool. Brian Higgins are the representative here, because we always have because I'm right next door to the and I'm literally on the borderline of where the Republican, the Republican seat that always gets someone arrested. That's the one that I'm next to, the shirtless guy and the guy who embezzled and tried to run again.
Talking about trans, right? The thing is, I would say all three of us are Antifa, but there are some trans women who aren't. Yeah. Guess whose name's going to come up here?
Oh, yeah, well, there's that.
It's the obligatory mention in the fluid voice of Blair White.
Well, I mean, we only mention her so much. Like, it's not actually that much.
There's a few things. First of all, Arya. Right? I was talking to Arya the other week about Blair White, and she went, "Oh fuck," she knows who she is, and she said, "Oh, she's the alt-right token trans woman who thinks that there'll be an exception made for her when they get in power, and that she won't be shipped off put in a car and shipped off to the death camps." She said, and she's really fucking stupid for thinking that. Now, that was really surprising from Arya. The other thing which was surprising from Arya is that she didn't agree that there's such a thing as council culture. I thought she would, but she said, no, it's bullshit, because she agreed with me. She said that, if you get booted from Twitter, you can go to Parler.
Well,
And
yeah,
yes, they-
because she has her own opinions and she is like correct about some things.
Yeah, that's just, well, I was just surprised because she hangs out with a lot of libertarian assholes. To be honest, I hope she doesn't see this because I'm going to mention something that she said to me.
I
yeah,
have,
don't put anything
okay.
private in. Please.
Yeah,
Please.
All right, okay.
I'm very careful when I'm talking to you about
so-
anything
so-
private we said.
All right, shit. Sorry, it's late at night. Brain's marshmallow. Anyways, look. I was going to say. So you have Blair White, Rosa Dawn, fucking India Willoughby.
And I can I at least one nice thing I do go on about Miss London, who is slowly starting to realize that she's wrong about everything.
All right, well that's good to hear.
Who's this person? Sorry,
Miss London.
Do I know who? I don't know who that is. Sorry.
Oh
Well,
yeah, we got to keep track of the right wing trans people. They are interesting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the thing is that they're all sucking conservative cock, and basically, they don't they seem to think that if they're as cis normative as possible, then conservatives are going to like them and blah 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 blah. No, they're not. They're really fucking stupid. But talking of Blair White, Kevin is the one person in this conversation who's actually spoken to Blair White. Funny, the one.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to. From what I gathered,
it's okay. It'll get better.
She kept you waiting for an hour and a half. Wasn't that true? And then, and that wasn't the first time she nearly flaked out on you.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. And we ended up chatting away for a bit. And she was full of shit as always. But what was quite funny was she was attacking another trans creator. I can't forget
Riley.
which one. Riley, yeah, of course it was. It was Riley
yeah.
Dennis, yeah. As a trans trender, because that's Blair White's whole shtick,
Yeah, just because she's been on hormones for 6 years.
Well, exactly, yeah. But she was getting some sort of surgery done. I can't specifically say to what, but it was revealed sort of that day or the day before that Riley was going to be having this operation done, and that Blair had never had any such operation. So I felt kind of bad as a cis dude in a way, but I think it was worth it because she's shit by just rubbing it in her face. Like, this person you were calling a transgender got surgery before you fucking did.
Oh, it was the other thing.
The two things about Blair White, and they annoy the piss out of me. Other than the fact Blair's had breast work. I'm sorry.
She's also had facial surgery.
Yes. She is a trans medicalist who won't get the operation, and I find that to be the height of hypocrisy.
Well, it's not just that. She said she doesn't want to have surgery in case she wants to have children. Well, I hate to tell her, if she takes enough hormones, right? Even if she's not taking anti-androgens, if she takes just HRT, eventually she'll become, sterile. That's what happens. Okay. So, anyways, the one thing I wanted to mention about the conversation Kevin had was she spent half the fucking conversation hypocritically moaning that Kevin called her a cunt. Well, and I say it's hypocritical because that's all she does. She slags other people off, and yet when Kev calls her a cunt, oh no, she's such a fucking snowflake.
For Americans, that word's used rather differently. It's not a misogynist phrase that Americans would use. So it's sort of like we can use it, but you can't. So,
Darn it.
Yeah,
it totally is that way.
Strangely enough, it's dick here. It's roughly the same.
Yeah.
So,
Gotcha.
Except cunt can be friendly. Dick really can't be.
Well, I was trying to once explain to an American that I said, we don't just use the word cunt; we use it as an adjective as well as a noun. We use the term cunty, where it's feeling horny, or stop being so cuntish, which is basically don't be a cunt.
So a bit closer
So
to
you've got
fuck.
it as adjective. So you got it adverb, and adjective. That's cool.
The fucking fucker fucked the fucking shit up.
I'll never forget. I once, because I used to. Christy got it out of me. I used to be a libertarian, believe it or not, Kev, for a little while.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And what medical procedure did you have to undergo to get rid of that?
Well, it was
some sort of cancer treatment, I imagine.
Well, go and watch the interview Christy did with me, because it was basically me dealing with my gender dysphoria the wrong way.
Okay.
You know, but I wasn't dealing with it. Anyways, I once did a podcast with a guy called Gardner Goldsmith, and some of this was broadcast on the radio. And I said to Gardner, we need to do a podcast extra big, because I described someone as a twat during the recording of the stuff which was going to go on the radio. And I did this podcast extra. I said, isn't it weird that you can say twat on US radio, but you can't say cunt, despite the fact they mean the same thing? And he said, well, if you said twat, you would. So the Americans do have a version of twat, but it's twat.
What? I've never heard that.
Yeah,
You've never heard twat?
It is funny. Our curses are.
Or maybe
our curses are. It's funny our curses are gendered like that, because a lot of the dick forms you can't say on radio.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, sorry. Just because I want to finish that. Yeah, no, I haven't heard. I'm not. Maybe I did know the word twat before, but like I haven't heard it in such a long time that I have no memory of.
Anyways, this isn't part of it. Should be part of the conversation. We were talking about Antifa.
Yes, Antifa.
Well, I was just, before we move on from that, I was just looking up Miss London. She's not nice.
Oh no.
But she's getting better.
Okay.
Yeah, well, what about Rosa Dawn?
Rosa Dawn is hopeless.
Yeah.
But when it comes to stuff, you were talking a bit earlier about young people shouldn't call themselves Antifa, specifically like under 25, Christy, and I was wondering if you could elaborate on why that is a little bit more.
I'm being somewhat facetious, obviously,
okay.
But
I was terrible at picking it up.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, Alex. I think, it's she was joking. It's not always. I mean, yeah. But there is a point in that. I think some sort of like conservatives sort of say to me about Antifa. They said, "Oh, well, they're just teenagers; they'll grow out of it." Yeah.
Well, the question is when you have the young Antifa, and believe me, I was one of them. So, it was. I mean, yeah, back in the 70s, for God's sakes, it's absolutist thinking that the perfect is the only thing that is acceptable, instead of figuring out how to make that happen. It's just like, well, no, we're not going to participate, therefore you're not doing much any use. I mean, protesting is all well and good, but one of the best protests is the ballot box itself.
And there's always this thing about the people say, protesting doesn't do any good. Well, the poll tax riots, hello.
Yeah. No, I agree with protesting. I very much. Trust me.
But this is the conservative view that protesting doesn't do any good. That I hear this from conservatives. I'm sure Kev's heard it as well. But what good does that do? Well, as I said, most protests don't do shit, but occasionally there will be a big street protest, which would do. And I always hold up the example of the poll tax riots. It got rid of the poll tax and it got rid of Margaret Thatcher.
Well, we've seen it at the moment with the BLM protests. Although not all of the goals are being met, they burnt a police station down, and then all of a sudden the police started to take it seriously.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's the way it goes. You challenge authority, authority has to respond.
I think Trump. Trump did a stupid thing. That's
No,
well,
I don't
must
believe it.
that must be any particular day, but
Oh no, perfect.
by declaring Antifa terrorist and making basically making random martyrs. He's basically guaranteed that he's got the.
He's actually given more of a, because most anarchists that don't tend to get a lot of airtime, shall we say. But he's actually, ironically, by saying, you're hearing this now from the anarchist bad faith actors and the Antifa terrorists and blah blah, giving them more fucking airtime. Yeah, thanks.
It's giving more airtime, making sure that the protests continue, which
Yeah, which they still are, by the way.
I was actually just thinking about protests yet again. The LA riots. Now, I don't know how you think about this, but I actually think the LA riots back in '92 was what lost Bush the election, because he turned up. No, because you remember before that, his opinion, his personal opinion rating was quite high after the first Gulf War. But when all that happened and he turned up with his entourage and fucking limousines and whatever else, it just looked like they were like completely out of fucking touch with what was going on. And yes. I kind of think that did contribute to his defeat.
Yes, I very much agree. But you actually know context. People under 25 don't know context.
Also the fact that George Bush, I don't know if you remember this. You see, this is how much of a nerd I am, political anorak I am. During the debate with Bill Clinton, George Bush looked at his watch. Sorry, George Bush. Yeah, George Bush Senior looked at his watch, as if to say,
"Yeah, bored with Bill Clinton."
Yeah, and it was as if I'm
Bill
bored
Clinton and Ross Perot.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, his timing was bad considering what Bill Clinton was doing at the time too in the debate.
The thing is, me and Kev and Christy did a show a month or so ago, and Kev made the point. He said, even with Trump gone, the people who put in power are still around.
Yeah.
And I think that is a very good point.
And not just that, but what America's going to have to contend with for at least another generation, if not more, is the fact that roughly a third of the voting population are, and this is going to sound not very pleasant, but politically schizophrenic. They have no connection to reality. They don't know what the fuck's going on. They'll believe anything QAnon says. They believe that Dr. Fauci invented 5G to give everyone coronavirus and that George Soros wants to fuck your dog. Like, it's just madness.
Well,
that's why I don't have a dog anymore.
And
exactly.
Bad memories.
Exactly.
The thing is, before sort of the days of social media, look, social media is a great thing in that it's been able to connect people, and it has given a voice to many people who wouldn't have a voice, who have something constructive to say. But unfortunately, it's also, you see, we used to look at the United States and go, yeah, we're not that mad. But we're now seeing the same sort of bullshit you see in the United States here. UKIP were basically the Tea Party, the British version of the Tea Party. And now you've got people like Nigel Farage and Katie Hopkins and fucking arseholes like that. And Tommy Robinson.
Well, Tommy Robinson is his own kind of stupid. I'm sure he'll sue me for that. Oh, speaking of which, J.K. Rowling, fuck you. You're total turf and you are completely useless. Sue me.
Oh, that was...
Wait. Like, I mean, to cycle things back to Antifa, a lot of conservative. There's far too much conservative things that lead towards fascism. I mean, what one of the people J.K. Rowling has, who has praised J.K. Rowling was a person who is saying that we need to listen to the neo-Nazis and whatnot, and it's super it's super important, and it's like
Tim Farron, who was the leader of the Liberal Democrat Party here. Now I have to explain to Americans, Liberal Democrats here are not what you think. Okay, they're
communists.
No, they're a mishmash basically. Sort of, some of them are close, what could be described as classical liberals. Some are social liberals. It's a bit confusing. But anyways, Tim Farron. So a few weeks ago, he wrote this Medium blog post about, British liberals should be defending J.K. Rowling's right to free speech, blah 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 blah. Now, it's in the British liberal tradition to do these kind of things, even if you don't agree with people. The whole Voltaire fucking quote, etc., etc. However, Tim Farron, of course, during the 2017 general election, was asked, "Does he think homosexuality is a sin?" To which he refused to respond. He eventually said no, but then after the election, retracted that statement. Since then, he has said that being anti-gay is the modern equivalent to being anti-slavery, and has taken donations from an evangelical Christian group who advocate for conversion therapy. So is it any wonder why he would be defending J.K. Rowling? The guy is anti-LGBT. Yeah, very liberal of him, not. Because he's a Christian nut. This is
true, but he's a rarity in British politics. Religion doesn't play a massive part here, thankfully.
Nadine Dorris.
Well, yeah, but again, she's not that prominent, really. Like, you can name one or two. Yeah, there are some nutters around, but generally speaking, we don't do God.
Anne Widdecombe.
Yeah, but she's not even an elected representative anymore.
No, not true.
I mean,
she's nearly dead, so
Is Anne Widdecombe still alive? That's as far back as.
Unfortunately, the Reaper has not knocked on her door yet. But
yeah, she's been advocating. She's been advocating that there should be an unmasked hour at the supermarkets. Last week, wasn't she?
Yeah, because the virus will take the hour off. If you go during the virus's lunch break, you should be fine.
Yeah, I mean that's just basic science.
Exactly.
It's just basic biology, that.
Oh yes, we love basic biology around here, don't we?
Yeah, the virus has got to sleep sometime. That's how it works.
What I don't get about Americans is, right, the police bashing the shit out.
Where to fucking start? Jesus.
Well, no, I mean the Americans think, it's okay for the police to beat the shit out of innocent protesters exercising their right to free speech, but
naturally
ask them to wear a fucking mask. And oh Jesus Christ,
well,
this is all
the very same people who were literally going into state houses with guns because they couldn't get a haircut. Like, expecting rationality from that group of people is probably a bit much.
Yeah, I remember me and Christy did a show, and she was kept warning, we don't call them terrorists. It's against the TOS of YouTube. What?
It is.
But Christy, just before I forget, and I know you're the one who sees the stuff. Has Perfict tried to get back in, or?
No.
Okay. I don't know what's up with Perfict.
I actually had because I was doing other stuff. I had the waiting room open. So basically, if he comes back on, he'll just come straight back on.
He does have problems with his router. He had this the last time I was on.
Yeah, that was.
So not so fucking perfect then.
Don't.
Yeah.
Don't say
That's
that.
even-
Like there's
that's it.
only so many people we can get. No, I'm just kidding.
But that's even worse than the bunker joke I told on the show with you.
I don't remember it.
Well,
My
you
brain.
said that Trump was hiding in a bunker, and I went, yeah, he was on the golf course.
Meow.
But seriously though, obviously when it comes to protests and a lot of things, at the very minimum, I think speaking out is important.
True, but I can't help but notice you keep trying to drag us back to the actual topic, which is that's buzzkill.
Well, yeah,
energy.
because I spent a whole 20 minutes thinking of this topic yesterday, and
Oh, by the way, are you the person I was talking to on Facebook?
yes.
Yes. Okay. So now I've got a face. Right.
I've got a question for Kev. But what's the problem with Volsh? You don't seem to like him.
He's a fucking. It's complicated. It goes beyond just the use of problematic language, which obviously, I mean, I use some problematic language, but he will drop the N word or the R ableist slur and things.
I've never heard him drop the N word.
Well, you've not been watching him long enough, clearly, and that's fine. I'm not attacking you, but it goes beyond that. He's incredibly condescending towards black people a lot of the time. He's a little bit misogynistic. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And he's sort of an arrogant twat. Now, doesn't mean he's evil. I think he's done some really good work, and I think he's put some really good stuff out there. But
his first debate with Sargon, he lost because Carl cleverly just sat there and Bolsh came on at him like a freight train, and sort of Carl just sat back and played the victim. The second debate he had with Carl, it was far better. He did actually, I think, get the better of Carl there. But I will say Volsh is a trans ally, and he absolutely took their white apart.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying he's like irredeemable, although he doesn't play lots of good. So I'm sure we agree on like 99% of stuff. It's just the way his personal conduct.
He's got
a lot to be desired.
He does sound condescending, but he's got that sort of Higgins from Magnum PI type accent.
I don't know the reference, but okay. I don't know. Yeah.
Christy will remember.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the actor, but he sort of
Dave.
He had this sort of mid-Atlantic accent. John Houseman was another one who had it. Sort of sound very. They sort of
okay, but it's not just him sounding condescending. He'll say dumb shit like when he had the black nationalist on. Now, for those who don't know, black nationalism is not the black equivalent of white nationalism. It's like it's not necessarily black separatist or anything like that. And Vosch clearly didn't know that, but was essentially sat there condescending to the black woman who was trying to explain this to him, saying that you're just like Nazis, and that's not okay.
Actually, that sounds like Carl. Something Carl would do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's dumb. It's really fucking dumb. And he did the same with you had a native rights person, albeit they were from South America, but they was talking specifically about the American experience. When Oklahoma, like half of Oklahoma was, I don't know the technical phrase for it, but basically was given to tribal groups in that region. He had like a tribal rights or a native American rights person on, and did the same shit. Like, no one's saying why non-native people can't live in half of Oklahoma, but yet he was saying you're sort of like Nazis, which is just silly.
Yeah.
Well, he's the reason why I don't want people under 25 being in Antifa.
Is he under 25?
I'm pretty sure he's under 25? Seriously?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, he does not take care of himself well.
Yeah, time has not been kind to him.
Yeah, I was assuming he was 30.
No, he's younger than Blair White, I think.
Or 27.
I got into a 3-hour mostly on air. I got into a 3-hour argument with him on a trans joke he made that he refused to apologize for. So
yeah, and that's another thing. Yeah, a grown adult when they make a mistake or say something dumb, just apologise. No one's expect like you don't have to grovel for anyone, but just say, yeah, that wasn't cool. Sorry if you're offended, you know. But he won't do that. He acts like a fucking child. Sorry, I don't want this to be taken over by Vosh. Let's get back to Andy.
okay.
Unless we've talked about Antifa enough, I don't know. Whatever.
Sorry, Kev.
I'm sorry.
No,
We
that's
are
fine.
not
That's fine.
at full Antifa ready ability. We've got 10 more minutes of Antifa that's required by Antifa law. You should know as the Antifa secretary.
I'm the CEO of Antifa Incorporated. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is based on the you mentioned earlier about the right thinking that there's some sort of rigid hierarchy to it. I've just taken that to its nth degree and been silly with it. So my Twitter bio is literally I am the CEO of Antifa.
It's no longer fuck Twitter.
It's no longer fuck Twitter. No, I decided to change that because I thought I'm not because I got banned before from Twitter because I'm such an edgy boy, you understand. But so I'm not angry at Twitter anymore because they haven't banned me for ages.
I was about to say that happened to us both at the same time. Remember, because it was during the European elections, and of course we were both having a go at Carl. And
Carl's fans, for all their talk of free speech and all the rest of it, not that this is remotely a free speech issue, but they certainly seem to think that having a Twitter account is. They don't care about any of that. They've gone after people who criticise Carl.
Well, yeah, I just think we were both mass flagged because I got suspended for a week for calling Jeremy Hunt a cunt, and it was like, what?
You'd have to ban everyone.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to ban newsreaders. I mean, there are YouTube clips of people accidentally calling Jeremy Hunt a cunt.
Well, it's not accidental, is it? It's just they know they can get away with it and say, "Oh no, I slipped the tongue." Honest, yeah, called him Jeremy cunt.
For those who don't know, he used to be the health secretary in this country, and
yes,
he is a cunt.
Yes, proper. Yeah.
No, seriously. One time he was. They were discussing NHS spending in Parliament, and he was meant to be like paying attention, but no, he was playing Angry Birds on his fucking phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things that he got away with because it was funny.
On the names thing, that someone I know found out that you can't get the password for Google of fuck Google because it is too common and easily guessed.
I mean,
fair enough. Yeah.
So, as the CEO of Antifa, how much does George Soros pay you then, Kev?
That is above your pay grade. As a lowly member of HR in Antifa Incorporated, so that's don't make me have to put you in front of the review board again.
I'm going to say it now. Anybody who says that the left is sponsored by George Soros, that is dog whistle.
We're losing Sophia's.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What? I'm here.
Yeah,
it didn't robot for me. So.
Yeah, no.
I think there's something wrong with my computer. I hope I'm not roboting. Because you are all robots.
So not so perfect, then, hey? Oh, no, your name's not that, okay.
So
that joke doesn't work second time.
Everybody is robots put on Earth to test me.
Everything's fine on our end. Or at the very least on my end.
Fail.
So, at the very least on my end, everyone can hear...
I'm sorry.
I was going to say something to Kev about this is Antifa connected. So when I first came across Kev and Christy, I thought they spent too much time, obsessing. I used to think, oh Christ, you're obsessing about Carl from Swindon again. But then I started to think, Carl has over 1 million subscribers now, right? Now that's bigger than the circulation of The Guardian. Okay. So he does have influence, and there does need to be somebody to counter.
Well, and not just that, but it's. I mean, before the term the alt-right pipeline was a thing, I was very aware that that's precisely what that thing was, and he's the sort of entry point to get to, you know, people into fascism. He might not see himself that way, it might not be intentional on his part, although I suspect actually it is. But it's impossible to prove what's in a man's head or heart, I suppose. I saw that he's sort of the thin end of the wedge that leads people into fascism. So it's tempting to try and stop people from going down that path in the first place.
The first time
I thought that was Richard Spencer's job.
The first time I came across Carl, right, was it was actually, he was defending disabled people. He was saying the Tories have been complete cunts towards disabled people, and I thought, oh, yeah, that's true. I thought, okay, but you know, it seems to me that Carl, he's a grifter. He's just like Blair White. You know, it's finding a niche, and it's basically, you know, does he believe most of this shit? Probably not. Whereas, but it's dangerous because he is feeding, you know, the minds of some very impressionable people who might very well have easy access to firearms, shall we say? And this is always the problem I've had with Alex Jones.
I have an Antifa question on Carl. Before the UKIP thing, when he was having a talk with something at some university or another with an audience of 5, the 6 people in black came in to interrupt. I don't know if you remember this. And
I do. Yeah, it was at Goldsmiths College. He was speaking with, was it Peter Boghossian, possibly? Yeah.
Oh yes. And basically yelling at him, and from this he has speculated out to all of Antifa, and I've been wondering. I wondered at the time. I'm not a big believer in false flags, but oh my god, that was so on the money for what he said that Antifa was.
Yeah, exactly. I suspect that might be the case. It's impossible to prove. I'm not going to be like Alex Jones, like, yeah, he definitely staged that, but it wouldn't surprise me. They certainly weren't. They didn't seem enormously enthusiastic and were very easily removed in a way that Antifa don't tend to be. But it could have been genuine, I suppose.
I was gonna say, whereas I think Cole is grifting, I actually do think that Paul Joseph Watson really does believe the shit he's saying. And
I'm not. He's definitely far right, but I don't know that you can trust anything he says necessarily.
No.
It's impossible to really know.
I'm not trusting anything he says, but what I'm saying is, I actually think he does believe what he says.
No, yeah. When I say I mean trust that he's being genuine when he's saying it, rather than trust in the actual content. Because obviously you can't trust what he literally says.
No, but what I was going to say.
Believes what he says.
Well, no, because basically he's the one who contacted Alex Jones to get a job. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Alex is taking him for a fucking ride because from what I've been told, and I knew someone who knew Alex Jones many years ago, they said, oh, he's just interested in the fucking money. He'll say anything for money, right? And
yeah, well, I've spoken to his ex-wife, yeah, and she confirmed a lot of that.
And also, you remember when he had one of his rants on the Daily Politics, and Andrew Neil basically went, you're the worst guest I've ever had. Andrew Neil said that straight after the cameras were, went, basically when they switched to another segment, Jones just got up, left. He didn't carry on ranting.
Yeah.
And that tells me that it's just the whole thing about him in court with his divorce. It was an act. Yeah, it is.
It's totally an act. Yeah.
Are you trying to suggest that Alex Jones is a snake oil shaman?
Yep.
I'm shocked. Shocked, I say.
But what I am saying is that Paul Joseph Watson does buy into this bullshit.
I think to a degree he does. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we are allowed to go off topic if we want. Go. Oh, Christy, you were saying something.
Well, I do. I do have. And no, I don't. Again, I don't buy into false flag as in this, but it is so easy for somebody to just pretend they're black bloc and do not be gay and do crimes because be gay, do crimes. I'm all with that, but it's one of those things that it's always in the back of my head because people are trying to discredit the idea of Antifa any way they can.
Well, remember.
Well, there was literally the case in.
Yeah, I was about to say there was that video. There was that video I played on the show with Kevin of that policeman who was dressed up in black, smashing the windows in a supermarket, and basically went around the corner and got in his car with his kid and drove off.
But he wasn't. Yeah, it turned out he wasn't a police officer, but he was. He's been involved with white nationalist groups.
Yeah.
Well,
this person was a fascist agitator.
Well, yeah. Well, you were saying other than that, you had a different example.
Me? No, I was using the exact same example. He's called Umbrella Guy because he had an umbrella.
Yeah.
And he was literally smashing, I think it was an AutoZone shop, like a car shop or something.
Yeah.
And then walked around the corner and drove off with his fucking kid. He brought his kid to a riot, which is amazing. And he was smashing windows, and everyone. It was on the international news. The Antifa, terrible, evil scum. But it was actually he's a fascist agent provocateur.
Look, I mean, I don't want to get all Alex Jones, but if you ask me, from what I've been told by some people, especially with anarchists here, basically what happens is MI5 will send in someone to infiltrate some groups. They'll take them down the pub, get them pissed up, right? And say, well, okay, go and attack this monument or go and attack this shop, right? Tip off the media where they're going to be, right? So, I'll give you an example of this. I was at an anti-cuts demo about 10 years ago, and it was perfectly peaceful. No trouble. Got home, BBC News. Well, most people were peaceful, but there were these group of anarchists, and you can't help thinking, there might be some truth to this.
Yeah, but just to be clear, yes, we are at the halfway mark. It's fine. It's more fine to go off topic and.
If we're allowed to rove off topic.
Okay, if we're roving off topic, Kev,
I got something I want to.
Yeah, Kev.
Christy, in our short acquaintance, you have struck me as being one of the nicest, most genial people that I have ever met. And your reaction to Rose of Dawn, if you had caught me just a little bit further into a swallow, things would have been messy. Oh no, she's totally worthless. I was like, oh my god.
And I'm very forgiving of almost everybody, but no.
Yeah, if we're going off topic, so Kev, you watched any of the snooker?
Yes, religiously. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm a big snooker aficionado.
Ronnie O'Sullivan played perfectly today. Yeah. Literally, almost flawless.
Yeah.
I'm always reticent to talk sport because I'm thinking to myself, I don't know the other. Me and Sophie do, but most of the people are like this. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about now. This is of no interest to me whatsoever.
This is part of the joke. The Americans here. Snooker is a billiard sport for intelligent people.
I know that.
Oh.
Yeah, but you Americans wouldn't get it with your smaller brain sizes, so it has to be explained.
Way back when I used to play snooker in a lesbian bar, which should have told me something way earlier than it did.
I'm making the gag that nine ball pool.
That's one of the most delightful sentences ever. I used to play snooker in a lesbian bar.
Oh, did you?
It's like, no, that's what Christy just said.
That's what I just
listen to Christy. Jeez.
I know. I was taking the piss.
Well,
out.
You both did now. I guess that's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Well, I used to play snooker in a bar called Willie Thorns, which is literally true.
Kev's really a woman. He's just taken a whole load of testosterone.
Yeah, I am the butchest woman ever.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, JK, I like you then.
I know what Christy said. I'm just surprised. A snooker table in a lesbian bar.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is. I have stories. No, I was out briefly in high school, so that was.
I'm just a little struck. I mean, look. Personally, 9-ball pool, I play it, but I think it's really boring to watch. Straight pool is more interesting, but snooker in America, I'm a bit taken aback.
I used to
Did
play
you? I mean,
snooker
I
all the
want to know
time.
what was your highest break?
I have no fucking idea. I stopped playing when I went back in the closet.
Oh, okay.
No, but like, I'm sorry. Where was this?
This is in Buffalo.
Well, it's near the Canadian border, and there have been Canadian. They do play snooker in Canada, so.
Yes, we have a curling team too. So.
So do we. They're all Scottish, but we do.
Well, there are snooker tables at other places around this country, I can tell you.
Are they all in lesbian bars?
And billiard tables too. You know, they do billiards, and it's not all pocket billiards.
Yeah.
Also, I'm tempted, just because it was a lesbian bar, to do a joke about potting the pink, but I'm above that.
Oh, please.
I'm a better person than that, okay? I'm not going to do it.
That's okay. I had to stop painting my nails because, there are things that happen that we don't talk about.
Wait. Why aren't you paint your nails? Now I'm curious. Now I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that.
Actually, I hate to be a Karen about this, but it was one of the things I was most relieved about when they started opening the economy. I could go and get my nails done again.
Oh yeah, I would love to get my nails done.
I need to get a waxing done as well.
Have your fingers?
Yeah. No, but I'm not going to be a Jessica and Neve about it.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I thought we had a moratorium on ever saying her name here.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know that. Oh dear, I'm not being a good girl.
See, that just really sounds. I mean, see, that just makes it sound sexual. I'm sorry, I can't.
What?
I'll never tell people I cut my nails with a wire cutter. Actually.
Wait, why do you cut your nails with a wire cutter?
Because my nails are very thick.
Because they're really good at it.
Well, I mean, admittedly, a nail cut, the high quality nail cutters, it makes sense. Like they're not that much different from wire cutters, so like
I use a buzzsaw.
Oh,
checkmate.
Well, I was going to say,
Checkmate.
I went and got a pedicure, and I forgot how ticklish I am on my feet. It was fucking agony.
I don't know if I could get a pedicure. I mean, I'm absolutely serious. I use a wire cutter on my feet, but my
No, I 100% believed you because it made total sense. Like that's one of those things where, like, yeah. Sorry, you're going on. You were saying.
Oh, I was just saying, but they've softened up a lot since hormones. So
yeah,
my feet are so much nicer than since hormones, and yet I have yet to meet a proper foot fetishist, which is sad.
Is it? Is it?
I've yet to meet a proper anybody, which is sad.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like,
Well,
but like, there are plenty of foot fetishists who just go on about it way too much and just make it sound creepy.
I think that's sort of the definition of fetish.
Yeah.
Well, no,
One of the
because
things I saw
you don't have to broadcast your fetish to everyone and expect that everyone wants to listen to you at every 5 minutes about a fetish. You guys don't know about my fetishes
I
because I
think
don't talk about
that's
them.
sort of a definition of a fetish.
I was gonna say,
That's my fetish right there. So,
you have met Christy. You have met a proper something. I'm a proper cunt.
well, yeah, there is that.
Well, you
but-
met two. Me.
Well, yes, but you're a proper intellectual on the YouTubes who does. Oh, I can't continue the sentence without breaking up. So,
I do dick jokes. That is what I do.
You do dick jokes and
I
and
shout
you
at
tell
Nazis
people
and
go
I
fuck
do
themselves,
dick
which
jokes.
I heartily approve of.
Yeah, was it Bill Hicks once described himself as Noam Chomsky, but with dick jokes?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll take that. Yeah.
And Noam Chomsky's is not Noam Chomsky anymore, which.
Oh yeah, we have to talk about Noam Chomsky signing that letter.
Do we? Can't we just pretend it didn't? Oh no, we shouldn't.
Can we just
happen.
comment firstly that he's named after a fucking garden gnome? Like that's funny to me. I know it's spelled differently, but let's be honest, that's what his parents were going for.
Yeah, but hey, Newt Gingrich.
Yeah.
Was named after Newton Minnow.
Oh, you had to spoil it, didn't you?
Same thing. The Gilligan's Island boat was named after.
No, but Newt. Yeah.
And Fig Newtons were named after Newton, Massachusetts. So.
And Rand Paul was named after. Well, I'll have a guess.
And Dave Cuntface III was named Namajo.
Something that was just pointed out to me today.
Perfect.
On Gilligan's Island, in the opening of Gilligan's Island, you get to see the minnow pulling out of port while they are singing that 5 passengers set sail that day, and there are 8 people on the boat. I never noticed that.
There's a reason for that, and if I ever really want to get into an exegesis of Gilligan's Island, I will certainly do so. Because
I never watched.
Because I can do that.
I've never seen an episode of Gilligan's Island. I remember Fantasy Island.
That's weird.
The two have very little in common outside of the name.
The first season is actually the black and white season. The first season is actually very, very good, and it's the one that nobody gets to see.
I'll tell you what was good. The first season, which was in black and white, which was good, and then it became shit. Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. The black and white season, that was actually more hard science than fantasy, but then it became, stupid.
Quite frankly, Lost in Space, the black and white episode, the first season is really good.
Well, for me, all seasons are black and white because I don't see color, so it's fine.
Oh well, yes, of course, you're one of those.
I mean, I'm an enlightened centrist. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
I don't see color. I don't see gender. You don't see your fucking tits in front of you.
Yeah, those people are fucking annoying. Yeah.
I was going to say, Ron Paul did actually confess that he called Rand Paul after Iron Rand.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Is Ron Paul still alive? And if so, why?
Yeah, he was. Yes.
Well,
he was putting out videos saying that COVID-19 was a fake. Hold on, he's a doctor. What?
Did George Soros tell him? Who revealed?
No, he's
who
not
revealed
a
their
doctor.
secrets?
No, Ron Paul is.
No, Ron Paul is not.
He's a
He's
no.
a
He is.
doctor.
No, his
Love.
license was pulled years ago.
Oh, but he was a pediatrician, wasn't he?
Something like that.
No,
No,
I
he's,
thought
he's a doc. No, he is a doctor. He's a doctor of love. Yes.
No.
Yeah, in your dreams, Kev.
Yes, I desperately want to have homosexual intercourse.
I
with
was
Ron
like,
Paul.
hey,
You've outed me.
I was over in the United States when that fucking whole Ron Paul revolution, what the fuck ever it was, happened.
Oh God.
He's such a twat. Like the thing is, Ron Paul, is a really odd mixture where 10% of the time you can be like, yes, thanks, a politician in America is saying something awesome, and then 90% of the time you just think, this is like Alex Jones, this is nonsense.
I always like,
and that's a really weird mixture of things to have.
That's the Steve Scheid from the Steve Scheid video. But I also the better thing about the Steve Scheid comment about Ron Paul was he said so it's good that the youth of today want to leave the America with a balanced budget and more fiscally healthy. Or is it that Ron Paul wants to legalize pot?
It's the legalized pot.
Yeah, I can't believe that, considering the support that has across the board in America. Like, it's not even like with the gun thing. At least like, there's a Second Amendment. Like, there's an impediment to it. Whereas everyone wants pot legalized. Just fucking do it. What are you doing?
Like, well, it is legal in Washington and.
Yeah, it's legal in parts, but federally they could just go, yeah, it's legal now. Just fine. Who cares?
The thing that surprises a lot of people is that until the 2018 election, New York was actually a Republican legislature. So a lot of that.
Yeah, but they're New York commie Republicans, obviously.
No, they're definitely not. No,
I'm joking.
They're worse than a lot of things, but we didn't get trans rights in New York until 2019. And even though we have like bastions of trans rights, like,
well, I was about to say, it's Buffalo. Fucking New York. Like, what the fuck is going on there? Because New York's, when I think of New York, I think that's one of the places that could be vaguely livable in America.
It is.
Like vaguely civilized, but.
Well, if you take the 5 cities that make up Buffalo, because there's 2 million people here, and we have Niagara Falls, Tonawanda, which you've never heard of, and Amherst, which is a city but calls itself a town. It's a long story. The crime rate is low. The marijuana has been decriminalized for a while. Our 2 county executives, though, because above Erie and Niagara County, have been anti-pot for a while. We have a very strange thing we have, out of the 4 representatives that represent this area, one of them is always Republican, and they always get caught doing something stupid. So
true, but that's the important thing is the NFL team sucks. The Bills are terrible. Tyrod Taylor's awful.
I have no idea.
Remember,
well, I've told you, so now you do. So.
She has moral objections against football. You're so un-American.
I am very. I want to give Buffalo.
Next, you'll come out against apple pie. The fuck is wrong with you?
I want to give the Niagara region back to Canada. I'm very much.
Yeah, well, Canada play American football. In fact, actually, Canada invented American football.
All I'll say is America needs to get over this whole independence lark and come back to Mother England. You know, it's the only answer.
Yeah, you were so much better with us. You know.
Exactly. 1775, the last great year in American history. Fact.
Except the same guy who played Higgins was in the musical 1776. So there is that.
I suppose.
There is a deep cut for you, since you brought him up earlier.
Anytime I fucking hear the number 1776, I think of that. I've had to listen to Alex Jones for research reasons, and one of the trailers is the odds of the 1984 is 1776.
Well, my favourite one is with him ranting at Piers Morgan. If you try and take our firearms, 1776 is going to rise again. Oh, fucking twat! Like someone, like I don't advocate for violence, but in Minecraft, he should have punched him. I hope I don't get someone's channel taken down.
No,
The funniest bit about that interview was when Alex Jones started mimicking Piers Morgan, going, "I can speak in that voice as well, Piers." You know, and it was kind of like,
Yeah, I get that on the internet. I was talking to like American fucking Nazis or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, just because you're speaking an accent," and you think, "Yeah, but I'm not putting the accent on. This is how I fucking talk. I'm not going. I don't take the piss out of your accent. I'm not trying to say. Look, if you have a cultural thing that makes a British accent sound better to your ear, then fuck it. I mean, I can't help that. Would you prefer I start talking like a fucking, I don't know, Virginian or whatever?
well, they all expect us to speak in a fucking southern accent and eat fucking hamburgers. Oh yeah.
Yeehaw!
I think every British person should adopt a Geordie accent.
Why, hey, mum?
Oh, don't. I mean, I like the accent, but the dialect is absolutely unpassable.
Yeah. Plus,
it's just,
it is it's other than thick glass region accent. I mean, if you try and read the Train Spotting, Irvin Welsh actually wrote it in the Scottish dialect, the Glaswegian dialect.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's set in Edinburgh, fucking hack.
So, what do you think of Billy Piper's ex-husband now?
Chris Evans.
No, Lawrence Fox.
Oh, that guy's a dick. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a privileged dick.
Well, yeah. The Billy Piper's his second cousin?
No, Billy was Lawrence Fox married to Billy Piper?
Lawrence Fox was married to Billy Piper. Yes, of course.
Well, she was also married to Chris Evans.
She was married to Chris, not Chris Evans as in Captain America. Chris Evans, the ginger UK former radio host.
Now former. What did he get caught doing? I've lost track.
Tickling a badger, which is against the law. No, I'm only joking. I don't know.
No, he took over presenting Top Gear from Jeremy Clarkson when Clarkson punched his producer. And
Jeremy Clarkson did something awful.
Well, yeah.
Well, color me fucking surprised.
He didn't get his din, so he smacked his. So he punched his Irish producer and called him something or other, and got sacked. And then he went to Amazon, and flopped. There we are.
Yeah, because it's Amazon. Like no one watches it. Other than I had to watch. Oh God. Tomorrow I do a show with not this Christy, a different Christy, but also an American. So it's confusing, but anyway. And we're going to be doing a review of Bad Movie.
I'm named after her. I'm named after her anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it is that.
Yeah.
I'm named after Christy Winters and Christiosity.
Yeah. And it's ironic that we're mentioning only white women because the film is actually called White Chicks.
Yeah.
And it's awful. I had to watch it on Amazon Prime with Christy because I refused to let her pay for it. So the fact that I already had the Amazon Prime subscription, and it's so bad. Oh my God. But fascists were against it because they were trying to make an equivalence between that movie where two black characters wear whiteface and the idea of white people wearing blackface, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
No.
Although White Chicks was offensive in a whole bunch of ways. First of all, hiring the Wayans.
Yeah, the whiteface is the least offensive thing about that film.
Wait, seriously?
Oh God, there was back in the
It's a real movie.
Yeah, it's a real movie.
It's a real movie.
There was back in the 80s. There was a film called Soul Man.
Oh yeah, that had a pretty good Thomas Howell, Thomas Howell, and
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones, yeah, and it actually was a pretty good movie dealing with race for being basically a C. Thomas Howell summer flick. It actually dealt with some of the issues.
I remember that the guy. But basically, the storyline is a guy takes pills to make him melanin in the skin, and to get basically was it a bursary or grant to go to university to qualify for black Afro Americans getting a grant
Well,
to go
it
to
did.
the
It
college.
did. It did
And
discuss why.
yeah,
it
yeah,
did.
it did. Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, and I do remember the scene where he's driving along, minding his own business, and he gets pulled over by the police.
The way it was advertised at the time is the part that is offensive on all levels.
Yeah, I would avoid it. You know, I'm not saying it didn't make the odd good point, but I'm sorry, blacking up is just not something.
Well, I'm just saying it wasn't Mrs. Doubtfire. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
it wasn't just a farce.
Whereas
he was, the hijinks of pretending to be black or something. It was.
I'm prepared to let Tropic Thunder off the hook because that was taking the piss out about how far method actors are prepared to go for a role, rather than anything.
Yes, but I will never let Robert Downey Jr. off the hook for walking out on that one interviewer who asked a question I would have asked. So about Iron Man being, an alcoholic, and did that bring back some of his own problems in the past? And I don't think he gets to ignore his past problems.
I did see an interview with him not long after they came out of rehab, and he was going on about when I was driven to drink because I was in U.S. Marshals. Yeah, that is quite a shit film.
Well, anybody would be. Well, the entire audience for the movie, what little there was driven to drink.
Yeah.
I think it delayed my my quitting drinking by a number of years.
The problem I have with Tommy Lee Jones is he's always Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah, it's like he can't really act. It's just Tommy Lee Jones.
It's like way back in the day, I thought when they announced the casting for Batman.
Two-Face.
I thought Michael Keaton is actually a really good choice. That was a surprisingly good choice, and Jack Nicholson as the Joker is just going to play Jack fucking Nicholson.
No, I was about to say the one thing is I do remember that Tommy Lee Jones was Two-Face in one of the later Joe Schumacher Batman films.
Yeah.
And okay, that was a little different, but as I say, it's always Tommy Lee Jones doing Tommy Lee Jones, and I kind of want an actor to be a bit, better than that. I mean, I've heard some people say, Sean Connery is always Sean Connery, and there is that. Only Sean Connery can play a Russian submarine captain with a Scottish accent, or an Irish policeman with a Scottish accent. Yeah.
Although, we're us ugly Americans, we don't know shit about that, so it doesn't matter.
Well, just as long as you get the Brit in to be the bad guy.
I don't know. This is stuff I can talk about all day. I really can. Me and my kid are doing gonna be doing some cinema stuff soon.
The one thing that does piss me off, and I understand why this is done. Okay, considering the history, I'm South African, right? Yeah. But as soon as there's a South African in a film, right, there are the exceptions. I think of Munich is one, fun enough. But generally, usually when there is an Afrikaner in a film, they're the bad guy. And I understand, white Afrikaners haven't got a good history. I understand that. But we're not all racist pieces of shit,
I don't know. What does Kevin want to talk about? Kevin's going just sort of blankly staring here. Although I think that is your default.
Well, no, I was just reading about a thing. Sorry, you having a conversation about something, and I thought, well, I can't really add to that. I will talk about whatever you want me to talk about. With hair that glorious, how could I say otherwise?
Well, I'm waiting for Wonder Woman to come out because
Wonder Woman 1984. What is it with these fucking? Why can't I see them now?
When you say come out, do you mean come out as gay or?
No, she's canonically bisexual. So
Oh, okay.
Okay, I was gonna say so.
someone got into an argument with me in the comments about that, which is like, why would you make that? Why is that a hill you want to die on? Because
any representation of any minority whatsoever needs to be pushed back against. That's what reactionaries do. Anything that challenges the white cis hetero norm.
Okay, but tell them to go look up the creator of Wonder Woman, and that will help them understand what was trying to be expressed there.
yeah, Marston wanted her to be canonically bisexual from the word go, but it took a while before that was actually a thing.
Also,
Robert Kanigher in the 60s avoided that like the plague until he finally got fired, and Denny O'Neil fucked it up, and then somebody came along and said, oh, you know what? She's been living on an island full of women for...
Do you know
probably have sex together.
Two things you don't know about well, first of all, the creator of Wonder Woman also created the lie detector, and
Somewhat. Yes.
And it's because of Wonder Woman I knew I'm trans. It was when I was watching Linda Carter back when I was a kid. As Wonder Woman, I knew I was trans.
Yes, we're close to the same age, and yes, it wasn't so much I wanted to be with Wonder Woman. I wanted to be Wonder Woman. Actually, I wanted to be Wonder Girl, but
I wanted.
I think small.
I didn't get to see the first series of Wonder Woman until the 1990s. I mean, they only really showed I only saw the one which was set in the modern day 1970s, not the one which was set during the war.
Yeah, the one that's the first season isn't in syndication, and again, it's a case where the first season is really, really good.
Well, anyways, I was about to say, and of course, I span around and wanted to, hopefully turn into a woman. I remember doing it. And of course, I thought I was the only trans woman who'd ever done that. And I discovered much later, many years later, no, I wasn't.
No, you were not. I have the amount of Wonder Woman dolls I have should have tipped somebody off years ago.
I was about to say, so one of the things I've said I've said a few times that there's a bigger problem in the Labour Party with transphobia than with anti-Semitism. However, one of the instances of anti-Semitism I do remember in the Labour Party was on a discussion thread on a closed Labour group, where basically someone was having a go at Gal Gadot simply because she was Israeli.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, she gone out what side of the... And they went, she served in the IDF. Well, everybody has to fucking serve in the IDF, you moron, if you're born in Israel.
Yeah.
Well, what I do care about is that both Linda Carter and Gal Gadot are doing women's charity, but they will only do ones that include trans women.
Yeah, so, Linda Carter, I know, has been an ally of trans people for a long time. In fact, she's been since the 1980s, she's been an LGBTQ advocate. So
very, very much so, and I'm very appreciative of it.
Well, it's weird you say that, because I was always surprised to hear that from her from back in the 1980s. Whereas Benny from Abbey, he really doesn't like the fact that gay people like ABBA.
That's so.
What was it? Yeah, I was about to say their whole thing was like the campest act in the history of the world. What the fuck did they think they were going? What crowd did they? It was going to be fucking motorcyclists. We're going to turn up to the concert. Like, yeah, obviously LGBT people are going to see, that and think it was part of that side of, gay culture.
Well, I mean that mainly relates to how so much of culture is obsessed with the cishet. Men need to be a certain way, women need to be a certain way, that sort of thing.
Well, it took Cher, for God's sakes, years to embrace her LGBT audience, and she was anti-trans until
I have to say,
well into Chaz's transition.
Yeah, one as obviously a cis person, I understand that the trans rights discussion and stuff is much more important for trans people. So I'm not trying to belittle the point here at all. But one thing that it's been useful from my perspective has been flushing out kind of fake progressives, that those who you thought maybe were okay. Like, I mean, Graham Linehan was always thought of as quite a socially liberal kind of dude, very sort of pro-gay rights and stuff. But you see a different side of them when the trans issue comes up, and it's been good to sort of wheedle out those nasty elements from the left.
Well, yeah,
to a large extent, anyway.
I don't know. It just seems it's people who are terribly confused. I think trans people deserve human rights too. Well, really, I don't know about that. That's sort of a dead giveaway, isn't it? That this person is not into extending rights to people.
Well, I mean, they say they're okay with trans rights, but then oftentimes they are like, well, I mean, these ones are the good ones. These ones are the bad ones. Only people who like completely do everything that's humanly possible in terms of transitioning. Those are the only real trans people, and only if they accept that they're secretly or that they're really men or whatever, and are willing to.
Are they?
First, you have to meet my criteria.
You know, yeah.
Well, I had a very brief interaction with J.K. Rowling's trans friend, because she wasn't that hard to track down. Because
J.K. Rowling doesn't have that many friends.
Well, yeah, she went on in her essay about the trans friend she has, and I her name is Sophia. Sorry. And she's terrible, and I it's one of those, and I had a brief interaction with her. I think she's blocked me now, but
and I do recall.
Yikes!
I do recall not so long ago, some trans woman said to me, "Oh, I'm not. I like Blair White." I went, and I went. She went, I don't support Trump. Yeah, I'm a Democrat, but everything Blair White says about trans is true. And I went to her, all right, so having the constant digs at, Riley, that's okay. Blacking up, that's okay, is it? Blah, de, blah, de, blah. And she says, well...
What's that, but palling around with open neo-Nazis in the past?
Well,
like, she's awful.
Yeah, I pointed that out as well. And she said, well, what she says about trans stuff is, So I said, well, what's your definition of a trans woman? She said, someone who has legally and medically gone through the process, blah, 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 true scum, bullshit. And I said, have you had GRS? And she went, none of your business. Went, well, I said, I know that Blair hasn't, but if you haven't had GRS, then India Willoughby would not consider you a true trans woman. Because India Willoughby, right, and I know this for a fact because this is the argument I had with her. India Willoughby, basically, I can't have surgery for various medical reasons, right? And India sort of said, what are those, she actually challenged me on Twitter. She said, what are those medical reasons? As if I should fucking tell her my medical history on a public fucking forum. Yeah?
She has to sign the HIPAA. She has to sign the HIPAA release first.
Yeah, if you want me to consider you trans, you have to.
Sorry, can I just finish it?
Oh yeah.
The point I was trying to make to this Blair White fan is, I said, look, Blair White might say, right, this criteria is it makes you a real trans woman, but there's another one who's going to turn it up even more, have a higher benchmark, and if you keep having these higher benchmarks, someone's going to set a higher benchmark, and because they want to be in the exclusive club and they don't want you there.
Yeah.
I have met these trans women, and from the very start of my interactions with the trans community, you know, who think being trans is like being a club, and you can't be a member because you don't pass, or you
Yeah,
haven't had surgery.
it's like a kind of hipster trans thing.
So, in other words, the trans medicalists who accuse Riley Dennis of being a transgender, or whoever, or Vera nowadays,
For fuck's sake.
yeah, Blair White's picking on Vera council geeks, and you know, they are actually the transgenders.
The when my mom came up to visit, and my then friend, well, still my friend, trying not to talk about her too much, and I and my mom went out to lunch. Great, but my mom got picked up by her friend, and my mom just avoided pronouns altogether, but her friend kept calling me he, and I said, please don't. Please just give me one she there. And she said, well, as soon as the process is finished, I'm like, I am out. The process is finished. Everything else is just uh, gravy on top of that. It's just working out what to do with that. Were I out and just wearing my falsies and going, to and presenting, that is out. Or if I just fucking well say that's who I am. Yeah, I like passing. This is a fun thing, but not really my goal. So, yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the goal should be to be yourself.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing with people like Blair White is, one of the complaints about from TERFs is that trans women reinforce feminine stereotypes. Well, can I just point to Blair White? Every time I see Blair and I hear Blair, I think of Frank Zappa's song Valley Girl. And here's a woman, a trans woman, who is trying to tick all the cisnormative boxes to basically ensure that all her conservative followers have a nice big hard on. Simple as that. Um, well, I'm not into trying to give people hard ons. I'm interested in being myself.
I'm not in. I'm not in trying to do it. It just happens naturally. That's who I am.
I don't know.
There's an internet utility which might be useful in this situation called Watch Together, with the 2 being the number 2. And you can join it for free. You can set up a room, you can invite people to join the room, and then you can screen a video like from YouTube together, where if one of you pauses it, it pauses for both of you. And you can watch a Blair White video with someone and say, we're going to, this way I can stop it, and we're going to review what she said about trans people and go look it up. And we can ignore all the rest of it, and we'll just focus on the trans people. You say everything she's saying about it is pure gold. Let's go find out. And I think they will be shocked to find out how much she says that really doesn't hold up to scrutiny.
Yeah, was it going to? Ellen Arney actually advised me the other week. She said, "Don't try and convince people against Blair White." She said, if they're going to buy into it, they'll buy into it.
It's not to be. It's if you care about that individual. If you're going, look, let's help you. You're not going to change the world by doing it that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, all I can do is just take the piss out of Blair, because that's all she fucking deserves, as far as I'm concerned. And as for trans women who buy into her, well, they're going to learn the painful way. I've been stung so many times, but I mean, if it, how do I say this? There's a lot. in the trans community, which would surprise what goes on, which would surprise outsiders, about how bitchy and nasty it can be. Now, it's less than it used to be, mainly because true scummers, when I first tried to transition, almost 20 years ago now, fucking hell, I'm that old, and the predominant ideology was true scum. It was, you did everything you could do to pass. Once you had surgery, you bunkered down and lived in stealth, right? And I was actually one of the first trans people to say, no, that's bullshit, because all of you, you know, so many trans women, the public misunderstand us, And I go, well, one of the reasons that the public misunderstand you is because you're so secretive. You know, you want to live in stealth. You know, people are going to have to be, come out and say, no, I'm trans and I'm fucking proud to be trans. And talk about being trans. Now, funny enough, I won that argument. And what has helped is the emergence of non-binary people, which true scummers absolutely fucking hate, because non-binary people break the rules, right? You know, and true scummers like rules because they like to bully people. You know, these people are bullies. Basically, and for instance, right, you go into any British pub, right, and you will see a bunch of blokes sitting around the table, basically go, "Oh, my car's better than your car," and I kind of think, well, let's get your dicks out of the table and compare sizes, because that's what you're doing. I mean, the trans community, despite the fact that so many of us profess not to particularly like what's in between our legs, there is still that element, I pass better than you do. I look more feminine than you do.
Well, I mean, that's...
If you want to be outside the generalized norms, that's fine. But you have to do it in these very specific categories.
Well, I mean, that relates to the beauty standard thing.
And I kind of, as I said, the thing is that I kind of think trying to reinforce cis-normative stereotypes is just feeding the anger of TERFs. So I say, but there again, of course, TERFs will move the goalposts. TERFs will complain, we're reinforcing feminine stereotypes. But then when we don't, it's like, well, you're not a woman because blah de blah de blah, right? Because we don't, adhere to feminine stereotypes. I mean, I'm not kidding. I once had an argument with a fucking true scummer about it wasn't helpful for the trans community that I'm such a big rugby fan. Rugby's masculine. What? Women don't play rugby then? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't do any of this for anybody else. This is entirely for me. I don't see anybody else. I have no friends outside of
outside of the wonderful people here and like the people.
That's what I say, outside of the internet. And
how's your son, by the way?
I took his first tee shot Tuesday.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
So we're looking into.
I'm
gonna tell a longer version of the story at some point, but our insurance will cover the mastectomy for trans related, but they won't replace the nipples, which is one of the funniest things. I find it very funny but very tragic at the same time. I did have a non-binary friend of mine who had a mastectomy on the same insurance, and it was like, she said, well, I guess I'm gonna just have to draw them on from now on, or they said, sorry. It was pretty weird.
One thing I forgot to say during our Antifa.
Nipples are overrated anyway.
One thing I was going to discuss about our Antifa, I forgot to mention our Antifa discussion, and, is obviously COVID-19 is going to have we already know, it's having a really bad economic impact.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I mean, Kev's unemployed. Are you still unemployed at the moment, Kev?
I was never unemployed. We were just on.
You're just between jobs.
Furlough. Yeah. No, we were on furlough. No.
Oh, sorry. Well, I know you were unemployed for a time.
Well, I have been unemployed in the past, yeah. But I mean,
Yeah. Sorry. I don't know you got a new job. Sorry, mate.
No, that's fine.
No. I was about to say, I heard something. There was a ridiculous number of people, like 80 people, are chasing one job, right, in this country now. That's really bad. Now, when the economic impact of COVID is that bad, that's going to cause tensions. Yeah, people are going to, they're feeling the pinch. They're going to lash out, and thus that is what's scary about the rise of fascism.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, the mess Germany were left in after the First World War gave rise to Hitler, but let's just say that the Wall Street crash is what actually really helped his rise, because basically what happened was, when the Wall Street crash happened, all Germany's creditors went, "We're calling your debts in," and what I'm trying to say, I do this in such a roundabout way. I'm a better writer. Is that basically we're in the economic shit, and that's going to aid the far right. And I don't know if Kev agrees or not, but
Yeah, economic fuckery always leads that direction.
Yeah. So we're getting close to the end. So if everyone's okay with wrapping up.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to bring up that tying all these things together with the Herman Cain.
Oh yeah.
Apparently managed to contract COVID.
Yeah.
At a Trump rally.
Yeah.
And has expired as a result.
Yeah.
Which is the sad result of that otherwise almost humorous anecdote.
Yeah, but funny enough, Nigel Farage...
Is it that sad though?
Yes.
If you're going to be a conspiracy theorist, about it, and then you die of it, I think that's neutral.
I think Louis Gohmert having COVID-19 is not sad. Louis Gohmert is not human. Louis Gohmert is, oh my god.
Well, I was going to say,
he announced it to his office and refused to let any of them.
I was going to say, Nigel Farage also attended that Tulsa rally, and when he got back, broke the fucking quarantine rules because he thinks it's one law for him and different ones for the rest of us, which is Farage. But the thing is, Herman Cain dies of COVID. Nigel Farage, nah. Shame.
Well, I generally don't wish it on anybody, but Louis Gohmert's got to go.
Well, here's the
Minecraft.
Thing.
He's got to be buried in Minecraft.
Yeah. Nigel Farage getting COVID in Minecraft. I was about to say no. The thing is, when Nigel Farage wasn't the leader of UKIP were actually in the doldrums. When he was leader, they were doing well, which tells you something, right?
I'm sorry, I've kidnapped our conversation. We were needing to wrap up.
Yeah, we need to wrap up here.
All right.
We're getting close to the end. I was just curious about final thoughts, really.
Celtic 5, Hamilton 1.
Broad hat trick, absolutely delicious activity. Yes.
I mean,
I have none. I had enough people I had enough interviews in the can where I could take the month off, except for one that I recorded, because it's been a shitty month for me.
And don't make war. Don't make war. Eat cheese.
Be gay, do crimes. But yeah, that's pretty
No,
much all
no.
journalists
Be gay, but only do crimes in Minecraft.
in Minecraft.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
I
Can you
mean,
be gay in Minecraft? Is that a thing?
I'm really not sure about that.
the hillbillies who stormed the Michigan State Building are only terrorists in Minecraft.
Apparently. So
And
I've got nothing coming up. I'm doing I did some voiceover work for Christy and for someone else I can't remember right now, which is sad. Build the Witcher coming up this week, but other than that, my interviews are on Thursdays now. Are broadcast on Thursday at 9 Eastern now, instead of Tuesday where they used to be, because I was trying to not conflict with a bunch of people. So
Perfect.
Yes, I'm still do the Discord and this.
Okay. Sophia, you got anything coming up? Where can people find you?
At Sophia Botha 74 on Twitter. And Kev, you're not following me.
Am I not?
No.
Message me and I'll follow. On my old account, I had loads of people. I even had Jeremy Corbyn following me. That's how badass that account was. So this is a relatively new one, and I've got loads of people like, "Oh, you're not following me anymore." Sorry, I was following loads of people and I'd forget. But if you remind me, I will follow you.
Okay.
And did everyone mention where they can be found outside of me?
Oh,
I
sorry.
can be found drinking behind the back of a dumpster. So...
Well, of course, but you have to signify which.
Is it so safe to go dumpster diving during the COVID pandemic?
Yes,
I think it's required. It's better than hydroxychloroquine anyway.
Yeah.
Normality Quake on Twitter. Normality like something I have no idea what it is, and Quake as in earthquake, and it's very pretentious. But I came up with it while I was still an angry atheist, so sorry.
Yeah, and I can be found at Ozma in the Dark just about everywhere except for on Twitter, which I'm talking to nothing talking to nothing with no G at the end. We can do the whatchamacallit ending. You've got the best ending, Christy.
I do?
Yeah, take care of yourself or you matter.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Your voice matters, your life matters, and you matter.
I don't matter.
You matter. Otherwise, you antimatter.
Hey.
I mean, fair.
Are we finished? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
Say
Bye,
goodbye,
everybody.
Kev. Say goodbye, Kev. Say goodbye,
Peace.
Perfect.
Bye.
Live long and
Goodbye.
prosper.